Assalamu alaikum in grade 4. We are in unit 13. This is lesson E, comparing readings on different scales. We will learn how we read and compare scales of capacity, weight, and length. The new word we have it today, scales. What we mean by this word, scales? Where would you see a scale? How many different places can you think of when we say scales? And how many different types can you think of? Did you think of all of these? The measuring jug. There is a scale with numbers on the measuring jug. The weighting scales. Also for the mass scale, there is a numbers and how we are going to read these numbers. Even your 30 centimeters ruler, we can see the numbers. So these numbers represent the scale. What we are going to learn today, how we will read these scales and how we will read these numbers. Here we will know the types of scale. We can see it everywhere. The first type is a straight line. This straight line, it's a straight, and on this straight line we can observe these numbers. The second type is circular type, and this type like a number line that has been curved round. So it's a number line, but it's not straight here in this case. This is curve, like a circle. Now, after we learn the different type of scales, let's start learning how we read scales. First thing, find 0. Here in this measuring bucket, where is the 0? Put your finger at 0. After that, look at the numbers. The numbers here, we can see it. Do the numbers go up in ones? Who can tell me this is counting in ones? See the numbers on the measuring bucket? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we are counting in ones. Now, who can tell me how much water is in the bucket? Excellent. We have 5 liters here in this bucket. Now, another example. We want to read the scale here for this measuring bucket. The first step, find 0. Okay. After that, put your finger on 0. Then, look at the numbers. Do the numbers go up in ones? Yes, this is in ones. Good. Now, I want to ask you, are there any extra lines between the numbers? Observe, for example, between 1 and 2, there is an extra lines. Yes, we have extra lines. Good. So, these extra lines, what do you think each extra line represents? This is exactly in the middle between 1 and 2. So, what do you think? This is represent what? Good. This is represent half. Good. So, now to check is it correct or no, we have to count up the scale. So let's count 0, then the small one, this is half, 1, 1 and half, 2, 2 and half, 3, 3 and half, 4, 4 and a half, 5, then 5 and a half. So here, how many liters of water we have? We have 5.5 liters. Excellent. Now let's summarize the steps we're using to reading the scales. The first step, find 0. The second one, look at the numbers. What do they go up in? So we have to check the numbers. We are counting in ones, twos, 5, tens. We have to check that. Now, the third step, are there any extra lines between the numbers? Also, you have to check that, the extra lines between the numbers. If there is extra lines, what do you think they represent? So if there is an extra lines, we have to think, these extra lines represent what? Now the last step, test your theory by counting between the numbers. So if you think these extra lines, for example, represent half, okay, count by half and check, is this correct or no? If you think this represents 10, for example, count by tens and check, is it correct or no? Let's practice this example. We have here the measuring scale and we want to read how many grams we have. The first step, we have to find 0. Do you find 0? Look at 0. Now all of you, you find 0. Then look at the numbers. These numbers, counting in what? Excellent. This is counting in tens. Check 10, 20, 30. Good. Now, the third step. Are there any extra lines between the numbers? Tell me, are there any extra lines? Good. We have extra lines. How many extra lines between 0 and 10? Good. We have only one extra line. So now, what do you think this line represents? Good. Maybe this is represent 5. So to check our answer, is it 5 or no? We have to count by 5. So let's start. 0, then this extra line 5, 10, 15, 20. So this is working. Now, after we know what this represents, let's read now our scale. Check this red line. It's going to where? This going to the number between 60 and 70. And this number is 65. Good. So here we have 65 grams. Good job. And now this is time to challenge yourself. Can you tell me what is the same and what is different about these scales? First, let's check what is the same. Tell me, grade 4, why we are using these scales? To measure what? Good, to measure the mass. So both we are using to measure mass. Now, can you check the unit in both scales? See, 0 what? What can you see beside 0? 0 gram. Good. So both scales are using the same unit, gram. Now, let's check the numbers. Both we are counting in what? Excellent. We are counting in hundreds. So what do you think? What is the difference? Excellent. The difference is in the extra lines between the numbers. The first one, there is only one extra line between 0 and 100 and one extra line between 100 and 200. So what do you think about this line? This represents what? What is the half of 100? It's 50. Excellent. So here this line represents 50. To check that, let's count on to see is it correct or no. 0, 50, 100, 150, 200. So yes, this is working good. Okay, now can you tell me about the second one? We have more extra lines between 0 and 10. Okay, so what do you think? Each one represent what? Good. Maybe this is represent 10. Let's try. 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, this big one 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So good. Yes, this represents 10. So here the difference between both scales are in the small lines between the numbers. In one scale, the small line represents 50, and in the other one, the small lines represent 10. Now, let's practice. Write how much liquid is there in each cylinder. We have 4 cylinders and line. Can you tell me how many liquid in each one? First step, check the 0, find the 0. Second step, the numbers are going counting by 1. Yes. Then we check the lines between the numbers. For example, between 1 liter and 2 liter. Check how many extra lines between these two numbers. Good. There's 10 extra lines. So now each one, what do you think? This is represent what? This is represent 100 milliliter. Good. Why 100 milliliter? Because 1 liter equal what? 1000 milliliter. And 1000 divide 10 equal 100 milliliters. So now in A, this is a 3 liter, and after 3 liter we have 2 extra line. One, this is 100, and the second one 200. So for A, this is 3 liter point 2, or 3 liter and 200 milliliters. Now you can check your answers. One more example. Write how much each parcel weighs. Okay. Look at the first one. How much this weight? This is good, pointed to 10 kilogram. Excellent. And the second one, this is 25 kilogram. Good job. Now, the last example, we have this parcel and we want to check how heavy this is. Okay, I will tell you the steps and you have to check the numbers. Then we check our answer. First step, look at 0. Second step, here from 0 to 1 kg, we are counting in what? Good, in 200. So every time we are adding 200. Now, between 0 and 200, we have extra lines. How many extra lines? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So, 200 divide 4. What do you think? Each one represent what? Represent 50 gram. Excellent. Now, let's check how heavy this object. Let's check our answer. This is 900 grams. The second one. Find 0. Now tell me, the numbers here are counting by what? Good, this is counting by 10. Between 0 and 10 we have 2 extra lines, so 10 divide 2 equal 5. So each extra line, this represents 5. Now check the mass of this object. Let's check our answer. The mass is 65 grams. The last example, find 0. Again here we are counting in 200. So each extra line represents 50. 200, then count 250, 300, 350. So the mass for this object is 350 grams.